Hello. So lovely to meet you and talk with you guys. This movie is incredible. I just have to say that. As a fan of the stage play and coming to this movie, I feel like there's hesitation for those of us that it's so special to. And after watching it, you guys made magic. I just have to compliment you because this is not an easy job. It was not an easy feat for anyone that knows what you do. So I want to ask you, when it comes to creating something on this scale, there are so many departments. I'm talking to special effects, your editor, your the DP, and everyone. There's a lot of cooks in the kitchen. There's a lot of opinions. So talk to me a little bit about your teams coming together and finding that common ground to create something so special.
Well, I think it comes from the top down, and John Chu put together an amazing team, and he also sets the stage for all of us to be great leaders, and we follow by his example and his energy, and he works harder than almost anyone I ever have met. I've known him for 22 plus years, and he infuses that spirit throughout the movie and throughout everyone he hires.
Yeah, I mean, I've been on the film for 2 years, and if I don't have a great leader and visionary like John, then it all falls apart. And but he also empowers me to sort of, I get to be sort of like the co-parent. Like I'm making thousands of decisions over the course of these years and trying to help nurture this baby into this world. And, my heart, my DNA is in this beautiful art piece. But if you don't have somebody like John to sort of, enable Alice or Pablo or the costume, then it sort of all falls apart. But, we're all a part of this thing. Like all our hearts are in there, our creative energy.
I think part of our jobs is all to get inside the head of, John's head and preemptively, offer choices that will, be part of the storytelling. It's really also, we've all been working in film for a long time. And so it is about the people that you work with. And it's also, you got three things. You got money, projects, and people. If you get two of those, you're lucky. But in our case, I think we got the three of them.
Absolutely. And then when it comes to editing a musical, this isn't your first one. You did In the Heights, Tick, Tick, Boom. What's the most difficult part? Because I feel like editing, especially this was live singing. And is that something when you're looking at the edit and putting these magnificent moments and performances together, is that something you're worried about is how it sounds? Or is you're like, I'm going to just put together the best looking thing and they can deal with that later?
I'm worried about everything. I mean, literally everything from, are these the right choices for the vocals, or, how do they look, or how are we, how are we telling the story dramatically? But at the end of the day, it's all about heart, what moves me. And so if there's something in a 10-minute take at the Ozdas Ballroom that moves me, that's going to go in the movie. And, it's really intimidating when every single 10-minute take moves you to tears. You're like, where are the choices? But eventually you start to find the essence of those scenes. But it's all about the heart. Like it has to be the heart, the emotion that guides me with everything, every choice. Where from Defying Gravity to Dancing Through Life to What Is This Feeling? It's like, what does it make me? What makes me laugh? What is the heart of this thing? And what was brought the day before as far as dailies and
Myron and I every night, we started this on In the Heights. This is our fourth project together, and on In the Heights, I started calling him every day at wrap when I got in the cab going from Washington Heights to my apartment, and on this movie, he is just an incredible champion of the movie and watches every single bit of our dailies. And we have this great rapport where he gives me feedback, and John doesn't have an ego about it and loves that we talk to each other and collaborate. And it's just a wonderful, John trusts us all, and that's what makes it so great.
And a lot of it from this is the first time that I work with all of you guys. And it's also my first musical. But it's just incredible to see them being completely instinctive. And there's a reason why you're feeling the way you're feeling. And there's a reason why you make the selects that you do. And it's my job to find out why it is that way and then continue that for the storytelling.
As the DP, when it came to finding the look of this film, because what I love is like it's not the Technicolor of Wizard of Oz, but it still has that feel. And then there's so much like in the performances, there's a lot of bright light, what feels like natural lighting. So I want to ask you about kind of bringing those moments to life in order to help them make those amazing choices.
So through when I first started thinking about Wicked, I started reading the L. Frank Baum original Wizard of Oz books, and every paragraph has this incredible rich color description. And I realized we got the opportunity with Wicked to make our own version of what Technicolor is here in 2022, I guess is when we started making the movie. And what is that modern day version of Technicolor, and what is our version of Oz? And it is we get to go from the brightest of brights to the darkest of darks. And I had this idea throughout the story that the sun would always rise for Glinda and set for Elphaba, and that would be our theatrical lighting cues that would pay tribute to the show. And so at a certain point, I said to John, can I suggest time of day that isn't in the script? And he said yes. And so like for example, the whole last 40 minutes of the movie, from the time of Wizomania through Defying Gravity is all one long sunset. And I needed Pablo's help with all of that too. And I also needed a lot of people to buy into this idea that we could have this very long sunset. And popular on the other end of the spectrum is a continuous sunrise for Glinda, where it ends in this big, huge pink sunrise. And for me, the sun became the spotlight instead of a stage spotlight.
I love it. And I noticed during Dancing Through Life as well, there's so much light coming through because for me, he's such a beacon, Fiyero. He's like, I'm the light and the love. Is there a scene for each of you that you felt like you really nailed it? I'm just going to tell you the scene with the girls when they come together at the Ozdesk Ballroom. That's the scene that got me, and I'm not a crier. So is there a scene for each of you that you're like, perfect?
I mean, 100% Ozdesk Ballroom. I mean, it's one of those scenes where you're so intimidated by the, if that scene doesn't work, then the rest of the movie doesn't work. And so you have to root for these two characters by time it ends. And you have to feel the emotion. Otherwise, it does feel very superficial. And to get a mountain of dailies and which all makes you cry, and then you put it together and you're still feeling something, and then next week you're feeling something, and 2 weeks from now, and in 3 months, and then you're watching with the audience, you're like that. To me, sometimes those really simple, bold moments sort of trump. There's so many amazing things that I'm really proud of, from Chistri's transformation to Defying Gravity, but something that's that sort of unique and grounded and emotional sort of trumps everything else.
Yeah. I'll go last. Let Pablo talk first.
I think that, I like the whole thing, but I think the movie builds towards Defying Gravity. And it's such an incredible way to think about it, because when you read the script, it's just a song. This is like, how do you find out exactly what happens? So we gave John in London a little model and a little stick with a little Elphaba, and he would play the song and then just mimic, the thing. And then Joe McLaren, who was the stunt coordinator, was there to find out exactly how Cynthia was going to do this, because Cynthia did her own stunts. And so how do you actually put it all together in the last basically 40 minutes of the movie with such a movement while she's singing, and you're telling, that the lighting also is really important. So, we started, sharing all these feelings and all these directions during the shoot. And then in the last 8 months of the film, when we did in post-production, all that held, because it's like an investment that you make while you shoot, and then you get it back in post.
For me, it's really hard, right? It's picking which is your favorite child. I've been on this movie for 3.5 years, and each time I see the movie, I go, "Oh, that's my favorite." But I think the thing that was the hardest for me, and in terms of wanting to make sure it was 100% perfect, was the Ozdesk Ballroom. it's a scene about what does it feel does it feel to be looked at, and John Chu wanted Cynthia be able to walk down those stairs and actually feel everyone watching her. And when I am watching that scene, I can feel that, the way Myron cut it together and the way John made very specific choices and Cynthia's very specific choices. And it was a set also that is made out of clear resin. And so it being made out of clear resin, I could light it any color I wanted to light it. And so I started with a little 1x1 piece of resin and then a 4x4 piece of resin. This is during prep. And I started playing with light and trying to figure out what is the right color for this sequence. And then Paul Tazwell put a piece of blue on piece of blue that became the shirt color for the Shiz uniforms across Cynthia one day. And I realized how beautiful she looked against that blue. And I realized this is the moment she needs to look the most beautiful. And it's the moment that Glinda and Elphaba fall in love with each other. And it is the heart of the movie. And so, and that love story starts right there.
It's such a perfect moment. Thank you guys so much. I could talk to you guys about this
Thank
forever.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
I
much.
can't wait for part 2. And No Good Deed is my favorite, so I'm so excited.
Oh, great.
Don't worry.
Working
It's
on
gonna
it.
be epic. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.